Hello, how are you doing there? I wanted to go over some image samples, not only of the new VILTROX 33mm f1.4, but also to some comparisons between it and it is really one of Fujifilm's oldest lenses, the 35mm f1.4. I love old lenses. I'm not actually giving it any hassle for that. The VILTROX, by the way, uses a stepper motor. Let's first start off by making a definitive statement that the autofocus on the VILTROX is infinitely faster. Not some faster, not a lot faster, a lot faster. There's also too a clickless aperture on the VILTROX, which makes it perfect for video use. I myself, some photographers don't like that for photography. I myself have absolutely no issue with that. Let's take a look at a bunch of image samples, but first let's take a look at the bokeh and talk about some representative characteristics after a lot of testing, indoor, outdoor, incident light, so on and so forth. Across the board, whether that be wide open, and these shots are wide open at f1.4, or even stop down, the VILTROX is sharper. Wide open at f1.4, it's decidedly sharper than the 35mm 1.4 Fujifilm. Here you can actually see some examples. Now, since you don't know the color of this microphone, the color of the microphone is a bronze yellowish color over here on the left, so it actually does render truer to life than does the 35mm 1.4 Fujifilm. Also, too, this lens is less than half the price of the $600, nearly $600 35mm 1.4 Fuji. It's $280. If we take a look at the bokeh, they look almost identical. We have the 33mm 1.4 VILTROX here on the left, and the Fuji on the right. Taking a look really close, however, the 35mm Fuji has some onion ringing. I don't know if you can actually see this here, but there are onion ringings. This is from not super finely polishing the interior lens elements um, all the way that is possible. And this is what you get on a really expensive lens. But there's some minor onion ringing. The VILTROX bokeh is a little bit rounder, and it does not have any onion ringing present in any of the sample images. Okay, so there's that. Let's take a look outdoor. You see some of the bokeh from the sky and from the leaves in the back. The lens is quite sharp. It's very lightweight. I said metal lens hood. Clickless aperture, much faster autofocus, and infinitely cheaper than the Fujifilm lens. And here's a good representative example of mostly non-specular background. It's very puffy, light quality to the bokeh. It is very sharp. Like I said, it is a good significant bit sharper than the 35mm Fuji is across the board. One thing it is susceptible to is that if you point the lens near directly into strong light, it is more prone to flare than the Fujifilm is, and this is due to slightly less higher end coatings on the interior elements. It is pleasing for some things, but this lens is more prone. It actually has less chromatic aberration and a wee bit less vignetting wide open at 1.4 than does the Fujifilm at 1.4, but it is more prone to near direct incident flare. Here you can see all of these images, by the way, are straight out of camera. This is really sharp. This is really good. You can get really close with this lens too, which is very nice. Did I mention how cheap it is? Take a look at some chromatic aberration here. It's actually less CA than the Fuji is, but it's still present here. You can actually see some cyan fringing on the W here, the BMW logo, and there's some purple fringing on the B right here. These are all straight out of camera. Okay. And lastly, I had to do some bokeh on top of bokeh using my bubble machine. So we have bokeh in the background, bokeh in the midground, and bokeh in the foreground. So it's bokeh cubed, right? Yeah, this would be bokeh cubed. This is also too a straight out of camera image. This was slightly fun. There's nothing better than whipping out a bubble machine and then taking some shots. All of these little spots are not spots in the sensor. These are just burst bubbles with their little pop droplets, mid-air here. So But if you can look at the background, you see the background bokeh is actually very quite pleasing. I actually like the sort of cotton candy, puffy. There's also some very slight cat's eye. Like I said, the bokeh cat's eye is almost identical to that of the 35mm Fujifilm. For $280, which is ridiculous, this lens is definitely a winner. I can't say this is my final review. I'm just showing you some images here, but there we go. Thought I'd post these up. I've posted up all of these and some more on my Facebook page, so if you'd like to see these in greater detail for yourself and download them, I have these over on my Facebook page, and the link for that is below. And thank you so much for watching.